Hello, we are this time with Rune Skov from Gryphon Audio. He's a unique guy. He's a very joyful person to be with, and he knows a lot of about music and about systems. He's been there for a long time in the Gryphon. He will tell us right now.
Yeah.
So, Rune, could you introduce yourself, please? And
absolutely. And hi there, Antonio. It's a pleasure to be a part of this. Huge pleasure, and thank you for the beautiful introduction. Very kind of you. Very kind.
I'm sure that's the truth.
I hope so. I hope so. Well, a little bit about myself, Antonio, is that I'm the father to 4 sons, and I also have 1 foster daughter. Widespread from the age of 28 to 2 years old. Okay. So it's a big spread. My main degree is that I'm actually a teacher, and I used to be a teacher at a private school, teaching all the older students, at college age, for almost 12 years before I actually joined high-end audio. At the same time, when I was a teacher, I was also working a little bit on the side as a consultant and as a demonstrator for Rito Acoustics in Denmark. I was running a small high-end shop on the side of being a teacher, and I think I did pretty well. And at that time, Rito asked me to participate at the CES in Las Vegas and also at Munich High-End to do demonstrations for them. So I did that. So I took a couple of weeks off from school every year, from teaching, did some performing, at CES and Munich, and I think it went pretty well. At least Mr. Joe Reynolds, who owns Nordos Cables, he kept an eye on me all the time. And yeah, it's 9 years ago. He asked me one morning at Safarino in the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, to have a tea with me, and we had a good chat, and he asked me to join Nordos at that time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He did. So I had to, call my ex-wife and ask about how can we do with the kids, because this will mean a lot of traveling. And, fully supportive. And my kids, they were small at that time. So on my way home on the plane, I did write my resignation to the school on my phone. Basically from there, I joined the Nordos export crew, and I was just traveling the globe half of the time every year for quite a while. And later on in 2015, I wanted to spend a little bit more time at home. Wanted to spend more time with my kids. They were asking more for me. And luckily at that time, Gryphon Audio Designs with Fleming, the founder, CEO, and Valdemar, the partner, investor in Gryphon, they were looking for someone with my skills, my what I can do, and they asked me to join the team. So that was basically the story in short, coming into the high-end industry.
Yeah.
As I'm living here with my fiance, with our kids. We are living here in Denmark, in the outskirts of Odense, having a nice house, beautiful garden, and it's good.
I'm glad that you are happy and that your time in high-end audio business, it's for some people can be short, but
yes.
I know it's been very busy for you. And
oh yeah,
and you really know the business. I, you mentioned Rydo, so you know very well Lars and Michael.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Who are very good friends of mine.
Yes.
Very nice people also.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Fleming is also a great guy.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Fleming is like a mentor to me. So even though he decided to retire 2 years ago, Mr. Rasmussen and I, we are very much in touch with each other. We get to speak with each other every week. We're always in touch on the phone, you know, WhatsApp, Messenger, Facebook, whatever. And because Fleming is very much involved in designing products for Gryphon, we still get to work together, but in a different way than we did in the past. And by the way, I think we should say congrats to Mr. Rasmussen today because it's his birthday today.
Oh, I didn't know. I will.
Yeah. He's turning 71 today.
Okay. I hope he's doing well.
He is.
How's your family and you with this pandemic? How is Denmark?
I think I think we've been pretty good. It's been a huge thing or change in my work life, because if we compare to last year, Antonio, I was traveling 140 days in total, and it is a huge part of our life. My fiance and you know, my kids, they have never tried anything else. So suddenly having me at home now for 6 months in a row, that's a huge change. So suddenly father, you know, their daddy is around, and he, you know, he's trying to make a difference and trying to have a saying, and you know how it is, you know.
Yeah.
It is a big change, and of course it's difficult that suddenly I'm here all the time. Also because a lot of my friends and also business relations, they're out there in the world. So my group of people that I'm very fond of here in Denmark, or I do not have many friends here in Denmark. It's a close circle, but I have a lot of friends out there in the world. Yeah. So I miss traveling. I miss seeing my friends. I miss you, Antonio. You know, we've been talking about it on and on, you know, on WhatsApp and emails, and we can't wait to see each other again and stuff like that. And that's a part of it. So that's what I'm missing the most. Going out there, seeing my good friends, which also happens to be business partners, which is phenomenal that you get to do business with friends. It's a big bonus. But overall, you know, handling the pandemic, you know, that being isolated in your own home for such a long time. I have not been into my parents' house since February. You know, even though they live 5 kilometers away from us, but my mom, she has not been that well, so we don't dare to take that risk. Okay. And also the fact that the kindergarten's been closed down, now it's reopened, so I had to work from home, away from the office, and also having the kids around me all day long. So it's been a challenge. Yeah. But what I think, Antonio, is that I actually think that we learn to appreciate what we had in the past. That right now we can't take things for granted because it can be taken away from us like that. So I think smaller things, the details and so on, that we simply learn to appreciate that a lot more, and that we learn to appreciate the people surrounding us. You know, that's a huge thing. We see more of each other, you know, the close people around you, you know, your wife and your kids and so on. So I think that has learned me a lot, and how to be involved in the family in a different way.
That's the good side of this pandemic. I think many people has got to the point that you mentioned, that to appreciate the things that we took for granted.
Yes.
And
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And something I've never been very good at, sitting down, watching a movie or a series, suddenly I like to watch series together with my fiance, when we're watching Netflix series, we just go binge watching, on and on and on. And something that I never had I've never been that relaxed, in the couple of years ago. I used to paint a lot. I haven't had the time to paint enough, but I love to paint. And in the past, when I needed to get some steam out or whatever, I was just doing a lot of paintings, doing that on my own. But now I think I'm getting much more involved in my fiance's life and in the kids' lives too. So taking things for granted, no.
Yeah.
No.
And that's one of the questions, or what I wanted to mention with you, that these times have made many of my clients appreciate their systems, and many of them have asked me for upgrades and changes because they can spend time listening to music without how would you say, without having to be working or doing anything else.
Yes.
And I think it's a time to appreciate what we have in this moment in terms of people who love music.
Yes.
And to be able to have time in the safeness of the home. And because you cannot use your car, or if you collect whatever, you cannot use it. And I think it's a good time it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Even though this what's going on,
I think when we get to the other side of this pandemic, even though I fear, and I also think that it will be a very, very long-term thing, that it will not go away within the next couple of months. Yes, in Denmark we are reopening, but are we reopening too fast? Are we just reopening in terms of getting the economy back on track? Because it's a balance. You cannot afford just shutting the country down for 6 months, because there will be nothing left. So things will have to balance in a way. But I think when we get on the other side, maybe after Christmas, maybe in the new year, when we're getting to 2021, getting well into it, that because we have experienced this this thing where we learn to appreciate things, like you said, your clients, they're appreciating music, they're appreciating the system a lot more, that we will see an increased interest in building your system to another level, taking more time off to listen to music, to enjoy what you actually love. Because now we have actually learned that, when taking 2 hours off or 3 hours off, just listening music or whatever you're doing with your life, it is something that we don't want to miss when things get back to normal.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that we are getting a lot more in touch with ourselves, with our feelings, with the emotions. and maybe it can actually be beneficial to the, to all human beings, but also to the industry. So I'm not pessimistic in that way, saying, okay, this COVID-19 thing, it will kill the industry or whatever. I don't think so. I think it will create a different environment for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it will create a different way of doing business. For instance, now we are sitting having this discussion on Zoom, which is a new thing. I did one with Jeff Fritz from Soundstage. I did one with Terry Ellis from Pursuit Perfect System, and so on. And did the little thing on Instagram the other day for Expona.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I think that we learn to do things in a different way. We simply have to be creative. Yeah, and that's why I don't think the business will suffer from a major crisis or whatever. Right now, yes, there is a dip, but I think it will come back with renewed energy.
And with new way to do things and a new way to appreciate different things. And I think if we take it for the better side, for the good side, and it's going to be a lesson that we will learn.
Yes.
For many years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So also mentioning this, that I was talking about with Maria Casanseva and Matthew Latour, that in 16th century it was a luxury to have music at your home, because only kings were able to have musicians at their villas or palaces.
Yeah.
Now, in these times, we are able to have, in a good system, the musicians at your living room or a dedicated room, and have an experience, I think, that could match any live event, or even better, because you have the best seat in the house.
Yes.
And I remember very well last year the demonstration you made in Munich. The setup you did, I mean, in terms of technical skills, your demo was the best I heard. The 3D you managed to make, it was amazing. It was like anything else I heard at the show. You managed to make a really
Thank you.
Impressive. How do we say, the imaging and the stage, and was very impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you, Anton. I think when we do a presentation, no matter if it's at a major show, Antonio, and thank you again. I really appreciate your kindness. It means a lot to me. Every time we do a show, a private demonstration, a dealer training, or whatever, we always have to have in mind that I'm actually borrowing 30 minutes of your life. I'm actually asking you, can I take 30 minutes of your life, because I've got something interesting that I want to show you. I've got some interesting music that I want to play for you. So the sister system, it has to perform.
Yeah.
Because we got some of the greatest components ever made on Earth. That's my firm belief, that what we are doing at Gryphon is state of the art. Yeah. I am very aware of that there are other manufacturers out there, making phenomenal products equally to Gryphon. Absolutely. But I think that we are at a certain level at Gryphon Audio Designs that we cannot, we have to present stuff sounding at the very best. And when I take 30 minutes of your life, I better play some great music for you, and I better make sure that the system is sounding awesome.
It really did.
Yeah, yeah, and I was also very pleased with it. You know, even though in a show condition in Munich, that we managed to get the system to play like we did, and some of it comes down to playing with the Trident 2 speakers. We could also have played the Kodo system, because when you're running the semi-active bass system, that you can adjust the bass level, the Q, low cut filter, and everything. So you can actually adjust the speaker system to the room. So it's actually,
and that's difficult in a show.
Yes, but it's very easy with the semi-active systems, because you got so many settings for the bass level. So you can make it breathe together with the room.
Yeah.
Or easy, but it's a lot easier than playing with a passive speaker in a room like that. So, and yeah, I was very pleased with the sound as well. No doubt, you know, playing the Mephisto solos, Pandora, and the Ether CD player, the IP cables, and the entire. It was unbelievable, and I heard that from many people. I had a lady in the room. She was crying. I was playing a piece of opera for her, and she couldn't stop crying. So I had to give her, you know, I had some small tissues, you know, with me. So I gave her tissues during the demonstrations, and she was just happy, and she was just overwhelmed. And I remember when she stood up and she said, "Oh, you made my day." I said, "No, you made my day, because this is what it's all about." You know, I could leave Munich high-end after that demonstration, and it would have been successful.
Yeah. I'm sure you did many people happy at that demos. They were very nice, very well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I see that Gryphon takes time to. What I like about Gryphon a lot, among with on some other brands I carry, that you take time to take a new product to the customers. You think a lot about it. You think Fleming was very reticent. I mean, that's the way you say it. To have a digital audio converter for many years.
Yeah.
So until he is sure of what he's going to come out with, he does it, no? So when digital photography was born, Kodak disappeared in one day.
Yeah.
In this case scenario for audio, and what would be your course of action if a new format is invented, or as it is happening now with the tape machines and reel-to-reel machines?
Yeah.
I guess
it's interesting, Antonio, because the reel-to-reel and tape machines, you know, they're all old restored machines, most of them. And a lot of people, they're playing the Studer, and you know, it is funny because it is like a life cycle, you know, that first we had the reel-to-reel tape, then we had the vinyl, then we had the tape deck, and so on, and CD, and now it all comes back again. And people, they've been asking, you know, and they've been saying, "Oh, CD media will die out." But you know, when you're actually comparing the numbers of LPs sold in the UK, comparing it with CDs last year, the numbers of CDs being sold in UK was 4 times higher than LPs. Really? So, yes. So, saying that CD media is dead, and the fact that most Gryphon clients, they prefer to play CDs, they have massive collections. And they've been asking us for such a long time, when are you going to replace the old Ricardo signature with something else? When are you going to do some even more high-end? And that's why we came up with the Ethos CD player and DA converter. And we actually started that project back in 2016. That's when it was originally, started, launched. We're talking about the idea, sourcing a proper transport, and we were a part of that development all the way. And for me, it's not that, because the CD media has never sounded better than it does today. And also the fact that some of the high-end CD players out there in the market, not only the Gryphon Ethos, but also other brands, they're sounding phenomenal, and it requires a very, very good turntable to beat them. But it will require a very, very skilled setup guy of the turntable to make it sound even better. So I think that CD media is not that. I think that it will still be around. It might drop down, but eventually it will come back. I think streaming, yes, it's here. I hope it will become even better than it is today. I still prefer a good CD player. But it's very convenient. But it also, if you want to, stream, for instance, live stream high-res files, you need to have a proper connection to your house. And imagine so many places in the world where you're not able to have that type of internet connection.
Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of people, they will not benefit from the streaming because the connection is simply not good enough, which is, unfortunate. It will improve. We know that, because the world never sleeps, and people always try to come up with new solutions. I remember a couple of weeks ago, we were sitting here in the living room. We were watching some telly, and suddenly my oldest son, Alexander, who graduated today, he came down from his room and he said, "Oh, Daddy, remember, man, it's right now. It's the Starlink from Elon Musk passing through." So
yeah.
we went outside. It was clear. The sky was clear, and we just saw this long line of satellites passing through. And next time I talked to Valdemar, the investor of Gryphon, the owner, and he was taking great photographs of it, and it was, so clear, because he lives in Sweden, and they were also following it. So it was so cool, being able to share that experience. So that's just the next step, of the technology and how to transfer data, and I think it will also be a part of the audio industry. The thing is, with Gryphon, we are probably not the first movers. As you said, we take a lot of time to think things through in a very thorough way. We turn every rock to see if we can come up with something new, or how can we use the technology, the availability of the technology. How can we turn it into our advantage?
Yeah.
But still being very true to the Gryphon philosophy of pure Class A, of true dual mono, and all those things, maximum channel separation, enormous power capacity available at all time. All those things that matters to us as a brand, because we are a brand, and a brand is a promise to the end user. Mm-hmm. They know that they can trust us because they know what they get.
And you have a very good response times and
Yes.
anytime.
Yeah.
And from the technician department, Niels is always
Phenomenal.
responding. Yeah.
Yes. Phenomenal. I work with a phenomenal team. So nothing what I'm doing, Antonio, would never be possible if the guys, they were not standing behind me, because they always get my back. You know, they have my back.
Yeah.
The team behind Gryphon, the R&D team, the technicians, the purchasers, you know, Bjarne, who's handling all the financial side of the business, Jakob, the CEO, and so on, you know, from the and Soren in the warehouse, who gets things done, you know, in a split second, Morten, who's assembling cables and stuff like that. It's just a phenomenal team to work with, and it makes my life so much easier.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to, you know, worry about, does it work, does it not work, and what are the thoughts about this and that, because everything is thought through. So a product might be very long, you know, it takes a long time to develop it. And to get it done right. So when you finally get the idea, you know, and you ask Fleming, so Fleming, you want to be a part of this? And he thinks it's a great idea, you know, he makes the drawings. So when he is doing the first drawings, and before we actually see the first product, before we launch it to the world, it might be 1 year, it might be 1.5 years. Sometimes even longer.
Yeah.
So it can be a very long process. And like I said, with the Ether CD player, the project started in 2016, and we launched it in 2019. So that was a 3-year run before the product actually was.
That was the ethos.
Yes.
I remember asking Fleming at the CES about a DAC.
Yeah.
And he said, no. That's not in my mind for the moment.
No.
Until the technology is okay and we can do something great, we're not going to come out with a DAC. So he took some time and finally came with a Calliope.
Yeah.
And a great product, and well, he does things very well.
Yes.
So I'm guessing that your next product would be a streamer, because everybody's going towards that way.
Oh, so now you're guessing. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, I totally get you, and I totally understand you, Antonio, and it will be a logical thing to do. It will be, you know, because most people, they would say, oh, what Gryphon needs right now is a turntable, and they need a streamer. That's it. Because then you cannot come up with another product that they don't make. But you know, making a streamer from scratch to the very end, like Inunius and some of the other big guys out there who are capable of doing, like DCS and so on, they've been involved with the streaming business for a very long time, and they've been focusing on that specific topic, and nothing else than that. You know, so claiming that, let's say that I would launch a streamer 6 months from now, saying, oh, this should be the world's best streamer, you know, and that I should support the app, because the app always needs to be supported, it always needs to be updated, it always needs to be up to speed. Then you have different file formats, you have different providers, you know, you will have Rune, you will have Tidal, you will have Cubus, you will have all the different companies, you know. offering their service. And you need to integrate all that. And you need to have all that stuff to work together. And the fact that we are a company not releasing a new product every year, and we know how fast it goes in the digital domain. So what I think is, for us, it's important that, for instance, with the Ethos, with the Calliope, with all the DAC modules we have in our integrateds and in our preamps, that we are and that we actually able to update them either through, you know, a USB or a key fob or whatever, when we decide to do something new software-wise. Let's say it can be a minor change, it can be a minor bug finding, whatever. But having a streamer on the market as a Gryphon, you know, under the Gryphon brand, and being able to be out there, you know, from the top shelf all the time, it will require a lot of energy from our company, a lot of resources.
Yeah, a lot of resources.
Yes.
Lots of money.
Yes, tons of money. And I think there are so many companies out there right now building great streamers. We are in that situation where we are building great DACs and CD players and amplifiers, speakers, cables, you name it. But we don't build streamers. So I think it will have to be a very, very active decision, company-wise, saying, okay, this is what we're going to pursue. You know, this is what we're going to do. We will strive to do this. We're going to allocate tons of resources into developing, you know, a state-of-the-art streamer. But we always have to have in mind that we need to have people in the office being able to support the app and so on. When people, they are calling, so there is no, it's not working with that, it's not working with that router or whatever. It's
or that
so,
the app, or
exactly.
it happens a lot, because I think the streaming business is new.
Yeah.
And people don't get it right the first time. So
Yeah.
as a distributor, you have to be on the phone many times to tell
It's
people
like
what to do.
we didn't develop the upsampling for CD players, but we were the first company using the upsampling for the CDP1. You know, remember?
The Mikado and the Scorpio sounds
Yeah.
amazing without any external DAC.
Yeah, and it was something that we simply, you know, it's for us, it's been better, you know, going deep into you know, to the technology, take the time, finding out how it works. How can we make it even better? How can we make it a Gryphon thing when getting into? So we might not be first movers, but we know finally we get there knowing and understanding what it's all about, and then combining the stuff and making great products out of it.
Great, thank you. So I wanted to ask you something. So I have some more questions for you.
Yeah.
More kind of personal, or I wanted to know what did you learn from your biggest mistake?
Wow. In audio or in life in general, Antonio?
General. I mean in your life, because in audio, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, the thing is, the way that I see my life, Antonio, is that I see my person as one whole. So audio, business, family, spare time, vacation, everything melts together, because that defines me as a person. So saying, okay, what is the biggest mistake that I have done? I've done many mistakes, you know, in my youth and so on. You know, tons of energy and lots of steam, and you know, it was crazy days when I was young. So I would say that when I've been a far better listener than I was in the past. I was probably always, when I was younger, I was always, you know, when people, they were telling something, I couldn't hear them because I was thinking what I wanted to tell, you know, so I was just like spot on all the time. But saying, okay, which one has been my biggest failure? I think I've done many. I've done many mistakes over the years. You know, it can be business-wise, it can be in family life. You know, but I think if you learn from your mistakes, because there is no reason to do the same mistake twice. You know, so
sometimes we fall with the same stuff.
Yeah. But the thing is, you know, you keep on saying the same word, or you keep on saying the same thing, or you keep on doing the same thing because you don't know what to do else. So then you just do more of the stuff that you already know doesn't work. So you need to come up with a different solution. So I've really never thought of it saying, okay, I've learned from this major big mistake and it has changed me into this and or that person. You know, I've chosen some decisions that in the rear view mirror, you know, I would say, oh man, if I've done differently, things might have turned out in a different way. Mm-hmm. You know, why did I leave this company for that? Maybe I did leave this company, you know, to learn from the next experience, you know, that it was actually a good decision going from this part to that part, even though this part didn't make me happy, that I was actually miserable being here. So it was actually a very steep learning curve. Mm-hmm. You know, so I wouldn't say, you know, I don't regret doing things, or because when you want to be an active person and you want to participate in other people's life because you think life matters and you think it's great being interactive with other human beings, and you actually like being surrounded with people, and then I think, you know, you make some decisions, you pay for them if they turn out bad, but never be too proud or not to admit that you done wrong or it was a mistake or whatever, because that makes no sense. Mm-hmm. I think what I've learned from the years I've been living now, and especially in my adult life and lately, and also being a family father, is that, you know, you know, listening to people, and it's not about being right. It's about changing and, you know, changing opinions or, you know, learning each other something that when I'm listening to you, Antonio, I might not agree with you, but let's agree to disagree. But I've learned something from you. And maybe next time when I'm ending up in a difficult situation, I will remember what you told me. So I think it's more like that.
So I guess that your past mistakes have led you to be a better listener and to be more empathic with
I think
with people?
I think so. I think when I was young, I was, lots of energy, lots of temperament. I was really, really outgoing, and being very snappy on everything. I could explode, but I think that over the years that has changed a lot, and it also from my past being a teacher, working together with young people, having 20-25 students in your classroom that all wants to be listened to, that all wants to have a say, that and all their opinions matters equally. I think you become a more tolerant people.
Yeah.
And I definitely learned something from traveling the globe now for almost a decade. That we might look different, we might live in different countries, and we have different backgrounds, philosophies, religions, economies, all those things, the way we've been brought up, and we most certainly do not have the same possibilities in life, depending on where you're from. But I really think that it has really learned me, to treasure human beings around the world, no matter where they're from, how they look, doesn't matter, and I think, even though that I was brought up in a very, very tolerant home, I think that has made me even more tolerant and less ignorant as a person. I think that's a huge benefit from working in this industry.
Yeah. Talking about traveling, you are in every show every year. What's your favorite show? I mean, for us, we get to go to Munich or and CSC is not anymore, but the Rocky Mountain or something. What do you think, Felix, is your favorite show?
It's a very, very fair question. It's also a very, very difficult question to answer, because it can vary from year to year where you are, and also from the exact experience or what you get from that show. Because normally I would say, okay, Munich High-End is the thing, because you get the entire industry there, friends from the industry. You can just walk from one booth to another, saying hi to the guys from AudioQuest, then pop by to Nordos, and so on, and over to Sim Audio Moon and to the Wilson guys and so on. So you can just walk around the show and really treasure being there, seeing all your associates in the industry. But it also depends on the atmosphere. How do people respond to what you're showing them, what they are listening to? Because a small show where people, they're really engaged into it, can give you even more high when you're done Sunday night, it's a wrap, and you're sitting there and you're just thinking, wow, this was magnificent, because you were having such a good ping pong with the audience. Mm-hmm. I love the Hong Kong show, also because Hong Kong, it feels like the second home to me.
Right.
I have some very, very close friends there, I like the atmosphere of the place. I like the mentality. I love the food. I love the city. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful, and I like the people in the city. They are phenomenal. So for me, Hong Kong is just something special, you know, and it's just something that I'm looking forward going to every year. You know, getting back, getting to see people, and I think the way that even end users, the way that they treat me as a person, that they actually want to talk with me, and you know, they are being maybe thankful for us flying all the way from Denmark to Hong Kong, you know, to do the show and go on and so on. But and it's been like that from the very first day I came to Hong Kong. I felt at home being there, and so even though it's a city with, you know, tons of people and lots of activity, and so, you know, I'm kind of relaxed when I'm there, and I'm actually feeling refreshed when I'm flying out after the Hong Kong show. Even though that you're working long hours, you get there early in the morning, you know, you have all the business stuff going
Then
on,
the dinner,
all that, and you know, you're in bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, and then it goes on again and again. But I'm never tired when I'm leaving Hong Kong. I'm just like, I'm recharged. But of course, it's also because, you know, like I told you, I have some very, very close friends there. That means
and I think most of Gryphon's clients are from Asia.
Yeah.
I think I've seen the biggest setups of Gryphon are in Asia.
Yes, that's for sure. Absolutely.
Right.
You know, I think we, you know, most of the big Kodo systems, of course, they are in Asia. Very few in Europe, only 2. The rest, they are in Asia.
Next one is in Mexico.
Yes,
I'm confirming you now.
Yes.
I didn't write to you. I wanted to tell you live.
Oh, it is?
Where you're getting your photos, yeah.
Wow. That's phenomenal. Yeah. Wonderful. Congratulations, Antonio.
Thank you.
Then I will have to come to Mexico, because that's the thing. You know,
yeah, I know.
we're always flying out, you know, visiting the Kodo clients, making sure that everything is working perfectly, that the client is happy, satisfied with the system. Do you need to make some adjustments, or is there anything we can do? It's a part of buying into the Kodo. It is the Kodo Owners Club.
Yeah.
Pretty unique thing. So Mexico now. And in black color. Let's hope that I soon will be able to travel to Mexico.
I hope you will be able to travel.
Yeah. We talked about it that I should come to you, you know, around November or something like that, when everything, or was it September, depending on when it's, you know, opening up. We just have to cross our fingers that we will be allowed to do that, because that will be wonderful, you know.
Hopefully, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another question. I would like to ask you if you could have a dinner or a meal or a drink with a music legend of any era, who would it be?
David Bowie. Absolutely. Straight from the heart.
Yeah,
David Bowie.
He's great.
No doubt. He is.
Sure, it would be very interesting to be with him.
You know, he knows about, or he knew about art. You know, he was an artist, painting, musician. you know, he was so skilled, and you know, he was doing when he did the last LP, the Lazarus thing, where he did the musical. I went to Aarhus here in Denmark, close to the Gryphon factory, when they were doing it there at the Opera House. They were setting up this David Bowie musical last summer, and it was mind-blowing good. Wow, it was so good, and I just simply feel a connection with him. And it's something that I've done, you know, I felt this connection since I was very, very young. My parents say that I was not more than 2 or 3 years old when I was really, really into David Bowie. And I could sit on the floor in the living room listening to a whole record with David Bowie. Just sitting there in front of the Bang & Olufsen stereo system in the 70s. And it's something that has just been following me. And I remember a couple of years ago when it was CES, you know, and it was 1 year after his death. And it was the same time, you know, when he died, and his birthday is 2 days in between, and it was just something special. So I decided to play the album Black Star once a day at CES, just to pay the man because it's a beautiful album, and I just think that he made a difference to the music industry, that he was so far ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was a very complete artist, and
yes,
as you say, he was ahead of his time.
Yes,
always.
Yes,
that would be a great show.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're almost finished, and I wanted to ask you, what would be, or what is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear? I could be very pragmatic and just saying, okay, I'm claustrophobic. I hate small spaces. So even if people there putting a blanket over my head, you know, I'm just panicking. But my biggest fear is that my kids, they would pass away before me. That would be the worst scenario ever. Because I never fear flying. I never thinking about, even though that I'm spending so many hours in the air, that it should be dangerous. It never crosses my mind.
Getting the flu I got the flu the last CES shows 3 times.
Yeah. It's not something like it. It is something, you know, on this caring, loving level of life, where, you know, that someone that you love, that, you know, that you are so much older than, that they should go away before me. That would be. Luckily, I don't think about it in that way, but, you know, it can cross my mind sometimes, you know, when I see the kids running around, or when I watch you know, the big ones going to school or whatever, you know, then sometimes it just crosses my mind.
I'm sure it won't happen.
No, it won't.
It won't.
But now you're asking me, and I'm just being, you know, very honest with you, that would be
mine also
biggest nightmare. Yeah, you got a beautiful family as well, you know, and so yeah. So
finally, I would like to know how would you like to close this interview? And if you would like to ask me a question.
Pardon me, I didn't hear the first thing.
How would you like to close this interview?
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you would like to ask me a question.
Yeah, I would very much like to ask you a question, Antonio, because you and I, we've just met each other, you know, a few times at shows, and, you know, we've been chatting on, we have never actually visited each other, and we have never had the time to spend a good time together. So what I would like to know is that, so what is your, you know, I've told you, I love art. You know, my favorite artist, for instance, is Jean-Michel Basquiat, the Belgian guy who died. You know? So, who's your favorite artist, Antonio? If we are talking a painter or a sculptor or whatever.
I would say there is a lot of artists, modern artists. I love photography. I have many on my mind, but I have been able to. I lived in Paris when I was young.
Yeah.
And we have been to Paris for Christmas for the last years. And we always go to the d'Orsay Museum, to the Impressionist floor. And I always stay looking at the Van Gogh portrait for at least 10 minutes. And there is a blue color that there is no way to see it in a photography or any other media than alive. I guess Van Gogh would be my top artist. He had a very tough life, but his way of painting, for me, shows so many things. He was very special.
Yeah.
He was very ahead of his time also.
Yeah.
But the colors he used, you cannot appreciate it if it isn't light.
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, I think we have a lot to talk about next time we see each other, Antonio.
Sure. I hope to see you.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you can come to Mexico to help me set up the photos, and
I would love to.
Not, we'll see in Munich next year.
But I think if the COVID situation allows us to do so, Antonio, then of course I will come. Absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Rune, for this time, for your very interesting responses and your way to say things that are very joyful and very explanatory, and hope that you are all well. Hope the best for you and your family. I hope to see you soon.
Likewise, Antonio, and it was a huge pleasure being a part of. You know, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Give all my best to your family and to your loved ones, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Antonio.
Bye.